Okay, this is basically my attempt at an audiobook. So as you can see, I've got the PDF up, just to show you a little bit more. There's a title, Receiving Revelation from Allah's Christmas Angels, Autobiography of an Angel Seer. Basically a true story that I've finally gotten around to writing, and obviously it's going to be a bestseller because it affects everybody on earth, and 100% of the revenue will be donated to income generation projects in Niger via a charity in Britain called Muslim Hands. Right, and there's a little Allah watermark. Right, so photo credits are to janmasni.com. Himself, he's an editorial and fashion photographer based in London, and Margot Holder of margotholder.com, and her assistant Sandra Riyad, who did my makeup and hair. Right, here's a little title page, and then it basically starts with my dedication, which I, for some reason, have yet to upload to my Lulu account, but I'll do that at some stage, inshallah. So here we go. I dedicate this book to my beloved Allah for all He has done for me. Surely it would be an injustice to dedicate it to anyone else. None is worthy of worship except Allah, and through all our experiences together, my most life-changing ones will obviously always come from Him because of how much He loves me. Allah's capacity to love is what draws me to Him, but if Allah chose me for Himself, then surely I am made from half of Him, explaining why I have always felt like I know this creation in a way others don't relate to. The inner insights I have, are they from Allah or from me being a part of Allah? I therefore have reason to believe that I am not a mere mortal creation, but equally as powerful as Allah, and capable of kicking His butt. Why would Allah grant me all I wish for unless I was cut from the same being He is from? It would explain so many of my miraculous abilities. Nevertheless, I'm in the dark about a lot of things still, so for now I must continue to enjoy and lead my life as a human being on this earth. It is due to my human limitations that I am here, for if I had my prayer answered, I would have already been uncreated. I prefer that happy place of oblivion, a simple non-existence. I love you, Allah, and yet I am happy without you. I can do without the trauma and experiences of this world, which I find both pointless and a waste of precious resources. Why not just grant us paradise and let us remain there to learn all this? Why throw us out due to disobedience when you know we will never be obedient to you no matter what happens, because we love breaking all your rules? Your better half, Maryam. So that dedication is obviously a very important part of the book, which I seem to have yet to add to the Lulu version, which people have been reading. But it does sort of put things into context with the rest of the book. And at some stage I'd like to add a conclusion where I highlight that the poor are number one in Allah's book, basically. And if you can understand that concept from the book, you understand everything I'm trying to convey to you of the revelation and guidance, basically. Because that's essentially what Allah wants us to do, is make sure the poor are number one, and they're looked after. Because our souls are tied to their souls, and that's the essence of the guidance. Establishing regular zakah, that is the heart of Islam. That's actually the heart of all the divine revelation, including the people of the book, the Christians and the Jews. Anyway, here's a contents page, brief and very simple. I haven't numbered the pages because it takes a ridiculously long period of time to try and organise things when I was constantly adding more to it. And therefore, and another thing, the 7th century Quran doesn't have any numbers on its pages either, and I think there's a wisdom in that, which I'd like to continue. Anyway, contents. I have a preface, I have an introduction, and then there's basically 8 chapters, and the preface, whatever, says, this book came about after much time spent contemplating whether such a pursuit would be financially beneficial in feeding the poor. Because obviously these things cost money, and I needed time apart to basically sit down and write the thing and obviously I needed Allah's help. So if anyone's got any problems with what I say about Allah wanting me to be his wife, the whole point of me proving myself is that I brought the Lord to the earth, basically, as a man, by requesting it based on his own inspiration, which is what I'm trying to say is he's basically made this choice. This is his master plan, and I'm just like a puppet in the whole master plan, basically. It's out of my hands, and it's what he wants, so that's what Allah gets, what he wants. Do you understand? Okay. So anyway, following much deep consideration and detailed discussions with a whole spectrum of people from all different walks of life, I eventually took a day out in July 2011 and wrote the entire book. I didn't realise it was this easy to produce, but must thank everyone who I have ever met. This entire creation is to thank for this work, since you all affect me and inspire me in some fascinating way. Thank you, Jazakallah khairan, gracias, merci, dankeschön in every language. I'd like to offer all my items up for sale to donate the proceeds to charity also, inshallah. Now, what I mean by that is, I want to add, Allah's helped me write the book. I took much inspiration from him whilst writing it, because I need prompts and reminders from him in order to remember what's important to put in and what to leave out. And obviously with the angels that I see, I saw them throughout the writing of the book for the 3 days that it took me, even during editing and all sorts of formatting the book. So Allah's very much a part of this book. So yeah. In any case, yeah, the main purpose of any writings that I do are to collect zakats to feed the poor. So basically it's a life-saving work, and anyone who participates in the distribution of this book, the reading of this book, any sort of transmission of the book, you're actually engaging in dawah and giving people guidance, and I will see angels for it wherever I am. So this isn't just some fancy desire I've had to go make millions. I actually am doing this for a set purpose, to get to heaven, basically. And the intention is to take as many of you as I can with me, inshallah. So anyway, right. Naturally, Muslim Hands UK income generation projects are of extreme importance right now in Niger. Niger being the poorest country in the world, Muslim Hands being the charity Allah guided me to with the angels on Christmas Eve. I will also be making myself available for events, book signings, question and answer sessions, fundraising events to promote my book further. Obviously that's going to come at some later stage after I've got further into the promoting. I welcome all support from everyone and hope to give away relics of mine people can keep. Due to the volume of people requesting items from me, I may have to cut square pieces from clothes I have worn and distribute these for now, as well as prayer beads I have used, and any free donated goods from businesses to give away with my books. Which, if you understand what it is to be an angel seer and somebody who receives revelation, you'll understand that my items have miraculous properties because of Allah helping me and working with me personally, if that makes any sense. Obviously it sounds a bit cheesy coming from me, doesn't it? It sounds silly really coming from the person themselves, but who else is going to tell you, if you know what I mean? It would be like the prophets have to tell people our clothes are holy, so look after them, etc, etc. Otherwise, if they just die and nobody values anything of theirs until after they're gone, there'll be people from later generations, or people with some sense, the believers ideally, who'd be collecting these items and protecting them as best they can. So yeah. Anyway, here's the introduction. I basically pasted the chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Balad, the city. It starts with, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, or Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That's that green Arabic writing there. Ooh, I swear by this city, Mecca, and you are free from sin, to punish the enemies of Islam on the day of the conquest in the city, Mecca, and by the begetter, i.e. Adam, and that which he begot, i.e. his progeny. Something I should add here. Whenever you read the Quran, you should always start with A'udhu Billah Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Inshallah. You should make that your practice, to seek refuge with Allah from the devil. That's a very, very important part of reciting Quran. And you see how Allah reminded me as I started. So anyway, that's very important, because you just don't want anything from the devil to stop you, basically, to read it and to misguide you or anything like that. So here we go. The begetter, i.e. Adam. Verily we have created man in toil. Thinks he that none can overcome him? He says boastfully, I have wasted wealth in abundance. Thinks he none that sees him? I mean, that's true, we do. We show off. We're like, yeah, I've wasted loads of money. I mean, I can say that as well. I'm one of those people. And then Allah's asking, do you think that no one can see you? Of course, Allah can see you. The angels can see what you're doing, and obviously they're not impressed. then it continues, have we not made for him a pair of eyes? Yes, indeed, Allah has made us a pair of eyes. So we're confirming that we know we've got a couple of eyes, and you're correct, Allah, in what you're saying. And a tongue and a pair of lips. Yeah, you've given us a tongue, you gave us a pair of lips. And then it says, and shown him the two ways, good and evil. Now, by you accepting and saying yes to all of these sentences, you're confirming against your own soul, in agreement with Allah, that He's given you all this stuff, that He's shown you the criterion between right and wrong, the two different paths. And whatever path you take after reading this, you become blameworthy if you take the wrong path, basically, because He's shown you. He's saying to you, have I not done this? Have I not shown you the right and wrong? Have I not shown you good and evil? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not stupid, I've shown you the difference. I've given you a tongue to speak with, I gave you a pair of lips so you can communicate with, I gave you eyes to see with. And people communicate stuff just with their eyes alone. And we have to be conscious that Allah's watching us. Think you none that see you, you know? Anyway. But He has made no effort to pass on the path that is steep. Now, this path that is steep. The reason why I'm interpreting the Quran in English with like the hidden meanings and other things is because I have what's called inner understanding as an angel seer. I'm blessed with this inner understanding of what Allah's talking about. So I'm trying to convey that, inshallah. So, anyway, but He's made no effort. Basically, we've made absolutely no effort to pass onto this path that is steep. Now, steep sounds like climbing up mountain at Everest. The Mount of Everest to me, that's like a big mountain. Can't climb it. Why do I need to make effort, Allah, to get on this blooming path that takes me up this steep mountain? Why would I want to do that? Because that's what Allah wants us to do, get up this mountain. But what is the work involved? What is equivalent to that path that is steep? And then He goes on to explain. And what will make you know the path that is steep? Well, you're going to tell me, Allah, aren't you? And then He says, I'm telling you, in the next part is freeing a neck. And what do I mean by freeing a neck? I mean freeing a slave in Africa from poverty. That's basically what being on the steep path is. You helping to free the slaves. That's a massive thing. Going to Niger, freeing some slaves, giving them better jobs, helping them out, income generation, buying them some livestock through Muslim hands, giving them a separate career, okay? Or giving food in a day of hunger and famine. So like what's going on in East Africa, in Niger, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, these extremely poor African Muslim countries, you know, even Eritrea and Ethiopia and Somalia, these famine, you know, ravaged countries where people are, brothers and sisters, are starving to death day by day. You know, 30,000 in the past 3 months alone. It's ridiculous. So that's the path that's steep. Get on it, mankind. That's basically what Allah's saying. And then to an orphan near of kin, giving food in a day of hunger to an orphan near of kin. And they are near of kin. They're our bloody relatives. And they're orphans. Imagine a world without your parents. Horrible place to be, right? Anyway, or to a miskin, poor. Miskin is just Arabic for poor people. Afflicted with misery. So they're all sad and poor, and we're supposed to help them, make them happy, inshallah. Anyway, then he became one of those who believed and recommended one another to perseverance and patience. So basically, people read my book, or they understand all these miracles, and then Allah puts faith in some of their hearts and not in others, basically, because the good people believe, and then there's a time for everything with Allah. So once He's put that faith in you, you start believing, you then start recommending one another. Start telling your friends, your family, your loved ones, and whoever believes out of those people, they're basically the ones that you say, be patient and persevere with us, we're going to do this, we're going to get on this path that's steep. And then you recommend one another to pity and compassion, you know, to feel something for the poor, you know, feel for them, be compassionate, blah blah blah. Anyway, they are those on the right hand, the dwellers of paradise. What a wonderful place to be, because that's where we want to be, isn't it? Anyway, but those who disbelieved in our ayats, so in our verses, our proofs, our evidences, our lessons, our signs and revelations. So anyone who doesn't believe me is a disbeliever. Disbeliever in Arabic is kufar, kafir, you know, that's basically what it means. Somebody who thinks I'm a raving lunatic who claims to see angels, but people think I'm a liar and don't see nothing, and those are the disbelievers, and they're on their way to hell, basically. They are those on the left hand, the dwellers of hell. And we don't want to be in that group, do we? Because you and I both know that somebody as brilliant as me wouldn't lie to you. Because girls don't usually lie, do they? Especially of things of this magnitude. I don't even think a bloke would lie about something of this magnitude, really. Because it's too great a lie to sustain without evidence. Anyway, the fire will be shut over them. They will be enveloped by the fire without any opening or window or outlet. Now that really is a place none of us want to be. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.